It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the spotlight, Shanley. Shanley is a content designer who focuses on startup ventures through her studio, Rare Animals. And today, Shanley is going to lead us through a three-step framework to building landing pages like the world's leading startups, which anyone running a company can really benefit from. So without further ado, I want to turn the stage over to you, Shanley, and let you properly introduce yourself as well.
Amazing. Thank you. And if you've just joined us, feel free to leave a comment with where you're calling from and a description of your business. And it's so nice to see some familiar faces here, Craig and Eric and others that I've worked with or met before. So I'm a two-time social entrepreneur and a verbal designer. I have about 12 years of experience building positioning, verbal identity, content for new products, prototypes, and platforms. And I work with primarily tech and direct-to-consumer startups, at key inflection points. So you're ready to launch, you're ready to pivot, you're growing, you're spinning a business off. My recent work includes supporting startup and nonprofit product launches across organizations like the New York Food Bank. In fintech last year, I worked with a new retirement venture from Prudential. I worked in health tech on a new venture spinoff from Watson Health now called Meritive. I worked with a very early stage startup building a marketplace for clean products for AFAB bodies last year. And I think it's worth noting, because I've listed some big companies, that I do work with very early stage pre-funding founders, and I'm very passionate about creating price points and products and ways to engage with early stage founders where they can get really high quality services and content and move forward without having to kind of break the bank. So that is one thing that I'm very passionate about doing. So I work in verbal design, which is a unique discipline that kind of bridges strategy and creative, if you will. So it's dedicated to defining how a brand uses language everywhere. So I work on things like product and UX copy, as well as brand and marketing. I'm also a social entrepreneur in residence at GCNYC, which is a new university in Soho in New York City focused on the common good. And I lead a graduate fellowship that's researching engagement and conversations in supply chains. So what we're going to do today is that we're going to look at some proven formulas that leading startups deploy in homepages and ads that work to drive ROI on ad copy and investment. And my hope is that you walk away from this hour with at least one phrase that feels like it more clearly is representing your work. So we're going to talk through things that can be used at the top of a homepage, hooks. So things that tell potential customers why they should pay attention and capture that top of funnel interest. As well as subheads and about you explainers that make it really clear what value people are getting when they work with you. So I do have a document I'm going to bring up. If everyone could just take a moment to make a copy of that Google Doc that I just shared in the chat. We are going to put you to work today, and we're actually going to be generating some things together. So you'll see our page here. So we're going to be looking at some messaging formulas that pair emotional drivers with practical benefits or product capabilities. So why emotions? Really simply put, targeting emotional drivers has a huge payoff. So we see examples like major banks introducing credit cards for millennials that are designed to inspire emotional connection, seeing use up 70%, or new account growth up 40%. From household products, if you want like a direct-to-consumer example, we can look at household cleaners that went from market share losses to double-digit growth after shifting to focusing on maximizing emotional connection. Apparel retailers shifting to focusing on more emotionally connected consumer segments, seeing same-store sales growth rise 3x. So it's worth noting that messaging and particularly messaging toward emotional drivers requires thinking deeply about your target audience. It requires connecting your customers' problems to your features and offerings, creating distinct messaging from others that are have similar offerings, or at least kind of sitting in a similar role in the marketplace as you are, so that you stand out. It takes collaborative work. It's really hard to just do in your own head. And also, of course, SEO and other data-backed approaches, which we are not going to touch on today. We are going to do a highly condensed version of that process today, and we are not trying to make something perfect. We're just trying to make something and get moving and get thinking about some new ways that you can talk about yourself and create some forward movement. So I put the link in the chat. I'm going to ask you to copy it so it's editable for you. My ask of you today is to be creatively brave. We're going to rapid fire create together. We're going to generate in real time. You do not have to share, but we'd love it if you did. It's always super helpful to see examples of what people are doing. And how it's going to work is I'm going to share a concept or a formula. We're going to time box creation to a couple minutes. Ideally, people will share in the chat and we'll kind of generate off each other's ideas, and then we'll try the next iteration. So with that, we are going to start talking about top of funnel interest and driving that. So our very first element on a homepage is often telling potential customers why they should pay attention. This is also something that can be used for ad copy, social copy, where you're sponsoring content, and also like redirection and search engines, all that good stuff. So our first formula that we're going to try out together is that we're going to try to pair something practical that your customer needs or wants or is looking for with something they want to feel. So a really good example of this is Parsley Health. They know that their customers are in need of medical care, right? But they're not just targeting that. They're also targeting that people, particularly in the American healthcare system, I feel like I can say this as someone that's experienced it, feel a little bit scared at times, uninformed, and perhaps helpless, or like they're not in charge as they navigate this broader healthcare system, right? So Parsley's main big hook on their site is take charge of your health. That's the first thing they say. So they're not telling you all about what they do. They're not breaking it down into specifics. You don't even know what their product is, but you can immediately feel this sort of like your body kind of taking a breath, I think, about like, oh, okay, this isn't just about like, you're going to be on a platform that's going to give you medical care in this way. It's this feeling of being back in control. So what we want to do is I'm going to put 6 minutes on the clock. There are no wrong answers here. We're going to take 3 minutes to write down things that your customers feel when they come to you. There are no wrong answers again. So this could be questions people ask you, fears they have, things that make them feel like they're winning, things that make them feel like they're losing or unsure. Just write down emotions. I am going to tell you when we're about at 3 minutes, and then we're going to switch to writing down practical things they come to you looking for. And then we'll work together to start pairing those in a couple formulas. Please feel free to share in the chat as you go. We often see that, we're all human. We share a lot of drivers. So what one person shares may be something else that someone else didn't realize in a completely different category has a driver that they share, which is always really cool to see that happen. So without further ado, I am going to start us on 6 minutes. Feel free to leave questions in the chat. Again, feel free to share drivers, and let me know if you're having trouble copying that document to generate your own version. And we'll just start generating these ideas about what people are looking to feel or feeling when they come to you. Does anyone want to be brave and share something that they've written down?
Shanley, do you want us to share the things in the chat, or should we
Yes.
unmute ourselves and speak?
I think in the chat is great. So that other people can stay concentrated if they want to. I love that. Inquisitive, ambitious, but insecure, intimidated, curious, overwhelmed, unsure, or not confident. So you can see how these would apply to so many different categories. So we're almost 2 minutes. Overworked, fear of looking stupid, uncertainty, different desire to differentiate their offering, not knowing where to start. Awesome. Confused, skeptical, uncertain, fatigued of the online dating experience. I have been there before. Desperate to change the status quo, lack of process. Awesome. So we're going to make a shift over and we're going to take the next 3 minutes to write down practical things your customers come to you before. Like sustainability and ESG is the black heart. So maybe they're looking for a solution. They're looking, online dating, they're looking to be, to just find a first date that works and feels real and authentic, or they're looking for that process. Or so you're thinking about like both that, if we use that health example, right? It's like you're looking for that systematized healthcare. You're also looking for something that makes you feel more confident. So this gets us into that practical realm, which some of you already started naturally doing, differentiating their offering, etc. Opportunity for growth, funding as founders. Awesome. You have about 2 minutes left. How to authentically lead, guidance, roadmaps, risk management, brand differentiation. Awesome. Something I hear a lot is particularly creative founders and consultants like yourselves having multiple things that they do. And this kind of approach is really helpful for that because you're hitting that kind of higher level need. And then you can get really specific about how you do it. But it helps to kind of start with that like emotional plus practical. So you're sitting just a little bit above those like 2 or 3 or 4 things that you do. Courage to make a risky career decision. I love that. Work delegations and solutions. We have a little bit less than a minute. Easy way to reconcile compliance and growth. That is such a big one right now. Turning ESG from a cost center to a profit center. Nice. Cool. Okay. I am going to share so now that you have these components, we're going to try a creative exercise. And I find that often when you're starting creative exercises, and I'll be honest, like I do this as a content strategist when I'm working with people, I like to start somewhere, give myself something to begin with so I don't have that like writer's block or that blank page in front of me. So let's start with Parsley as an example. If we're thinking about a hook, Parsley actually gives users a command, right? Take charge of your health. Another example is Miro. 400 million in their most recent funding round. They're valued at 17.5 billion. They have a different sort of command or statement, which is take ideas from better to best. So we want to try using this formula. And you'll see in your document, this little red text always indicates this is something you can delete and type in your answer there. So we're going to try turning that feeling and practical need into a commanding statement like parsley or Miro. So you could use a formula of like, take X verb of, from, by, turn it into another thing. So take charge of your health, for example. Take whatever it is, ideas, a noun, from better to best, from X to Y, adjective. I'll be honest, I was not the best grammar student, even though I moved into content. So if that feels a little confusing, feel free to message me and I can help. So we're going to take 3 minutes and again, just try and generate with these formulas. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to feel like the thing you're going to use, but we are going to just try and unlock some progress together in how you talk about what you're doing and move it forward. So I will put 3 minutes back on the clock. Again, please feel free to share in the chat. This gets really fun with people giving you feedback and we can kind of iterate on each other's ideas. So this is meant to be a really generative, safe, creative, brave hour. So please feel free to share your ideas. So I will put 3 minutes on the clock and let's try out some hook headlines. I love that. Turn your carbon emissions from waste to value. Take comfort in your wealth. And it's helpful to remember in this process, you're trying to like speak to that emotion that they're coming in with. So like, is it anxiety they have? Is it uncertainty they have? You know, how can you kind of like work with that moment and help them feel like you see them and you get it practically and emotionally. So we're about halfway through. Sorry if you can hear my 4-year-old in the background. It's a snow day. Turn your IRA from blah to impactful. Putting ideas to place. Turn your ambitions into transactions. Oh, I like that one.
Kat, I like that.
Yeah.
I told you we were going to pay attention today.
I love it. I love it.
I don't like mine, but I'll post them.
Yeah, post it anyway. Take control of your future, take your share of wealth and power from non-existent to significant. I like the, like a little bit of rhyming there. That's always nice for the brain. Turn your future from tactical to strategic, take charge of your money and power. Nice. All right, we are at 3 minutes. So if that didn't feel like you got somewhere right, don't worry, we're going to do it again. So the next thing we're going to try is confining ourselves to a certain set of words. how would you describe resolving these needs and feelings in just 4 words? So an example of this is open spaces, which is part of the Pattern Brands family of brands model. I try and pull in like different models, different funding models here, different ways of generating revenue. They are on my desk right now. If you have not bought them, they're amazing containers. So they're interesting because they're a direct to consumer, like they're a product brand, right? And they rather than like the Container Store, right? You can walk into the Container Store, and speaking from experience, you can feel very overwhelmed. These guys are a little higher end, and they have a much smaller kind of set of products. And so they bring in this practical feeling, right? You are surrounded by clutter, you have too much stuff, you're not organized, with this like this feeling of being closed in or disorganized, right? And so they're like 4 words that they use is create space to enjoy. Other examples to reference that kind of go back to that command piece, but would be like MailChimp. So they have this practical, like, I need to show ROI. Plus I'm unsure how to be creative. So if it was just about like, let's get right to ROI or let's get right to creative, that's fine. But what people are needing to feel is like, if I work in MailChimp, even if I'm not creative, I'm actually going to get, I'm going to get to where I need to go in terms of revenue and output. So they talk about turn emails into revenue. Extremely simple, but it gets to that like confidence you need. So let's do this one more time, and then we'll shift to element 2. Take 3 minutes and write down, turn X thing into Y thing, create X to do Y, try your own, just kind of box yourself into 4 words, 5 at the most, and just see what comes up. And please do feel free to share bad iterations, good iterations, any iterations in the chat. Turn tragic to magic. Please share all the cliches.
For our own brand or for this brand?
For your own.
Okay.
And in case you joined after we shared it, I'm just going to reshare the document to copy and turn your bedroom into a sanctuary. Love that. I love that because you can feel, even though I don't know what the product is or what the thing is, I can feel that feeling of calm and sanctuary, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're just joining us, we're on page 4 in the worksheet. We're about 1 minute in. Bring some of yours work here. Take charge of your money. Take control of your future. Grow your finances naturally. That makes me curious. I like that. What does it mean to grow finances naturally? It also makes me wonder if it like has something to do with sustainability, which is cool. Okay, we have about 1 more minute. Places that change community. Love that. Achieve net zero carbon profitably. Personal finance support with sustainability in mind. See? Awesome. I love it. I love those 4 words for you. Make net zero profitable. Design ease in your fashion brand. I love all this like sustainable finance in here today. Turn headaches into peace of mind. Yolanda, what are the headaches? What is your
So our company is, we sell cartridges, toner cartridges. We compete with the OEMs, the HPs and the Canons and the Xerox. So what we
Love
do
it.
is that we save them money, quality. So.
Love it. Okay. I love it. Okay. So some of you are already naturally going here. So we want people to actually know what we do, right? So we kind of break these things up, and you'll start noticing the pattern of a lot of leading brands do this. They'll start with a hook or something they want you to feel, they want to grab you, you're not quite sure what it is. Super good example of this is like grow your finances naturally, bedroom into a sanctuary, like these things where you're like, oh, I can feel that, but I'm not quite sure what that is. And then it's like, okay, let's talk about what this actually is. So you can use this for subheads, captions on social, site descriptors, CTAs. We're going to start with one that's a little bit more complex, and then we'll go back to an easier example. So we're going to start with a key emotional motivator. So we're going to go from just emotions to a motivator, and I'm going to give you a list of those. Don't worry, you're not going to start from scratch. And then your leading product feature, which if you don't know what that is, take a guess. What's your differentiator? What's your, what are you trying to sell the most? What do you sell the most? What do you think? What is the thing you're most excited about? Like, obviously there's very sophisticated ways to quantify this, but today we're just like trying to get things out there, right? So an example of this is Stages, a new venture from Prudential that came out late last year. Full disclosure, I did work on their content. So when I was working on Stages, we were mostly working with soon to be retirees that were feeling scared, right? They're coming out of the pandemic. They're not necessarily prepared for retirement. And a lot of retirement language is like, really like, have you saved enough? And it's just really scary. So the biggest thing that Stages offered was this retirement confidence score, right? So we started with this, like, your retirement's around the corner. Now what? That's exactly what people are feeling like, oh God. So we're here to help you reach the retirement you want. So we've created this feeling of like, oh yeah, that is the thing. And then it's like, don't worry, we got you. Unlock your retirement confidence score, et cetera, et cetera. So there are 10 main emotional motivators that significantly affect customer value across most categories, right? We can break them down into more specifics, but these are a really good place to start. So you'll see Stages is right here. Have confidence in the future. Things like standing out from the crowd, enjoying a sense of well-being. We can talk about that. Bedroom as a sanctuary fits there. Feel a sense of freedom, feel a sense of confidence in the future. The financial stuff could fit there. Sense of belonging, be the person or company you want to be, feel secure, succeed. So what we're going to try and do is identify your motivator, right? So you're going to think about the emotions you shared above and consider, what of these top 10 motivators might they align to? Take a couple minutes to just write down 1 to 2 you think align to your customer. Remember, there are still no wrong answers today. And then we're going to think about the brand opportunity that pairs with them. After you do that, then we're going to try out this brand motivator feeling in a question and an answer with your product. I promise this is the most complicated one we're going to do today. So just a couple minutes, we'll talk through your motivators. So just don't think too hard about it. Just kind of look through the list and think like, what motivator might you fit with?
And do you need to pick one, or could it be multiple?
No, it can be multiple. Totally can be multiple that you think might work for you. And then we can, you can try them out. And it's helpful to remember this is typically a longer strategic process that you're going through with someone over a few weeks. So we're definitely doing this like rapid fire today as a starting point. Anyone want to share motivators that they feel like they're aligning to? We have like a minute or so left. Confidence, feel secure, freedom, succeed in life. Awesome. Protect the environment. Love that. Stand up from the crowd. Yeah, I totally can see that for you. Yeah. Confidence, future, be the person I want to be, feel a sense of belonging. Yeah, Craig, that makes a ton of sense to me for you, for the work you're doing. All 10 depending on the audience. That can be true sometimes too. And then we talk about how to prioritize is what we do there. Take control of your success. Awesome. So we're almost at 2 minutes. Stand up from the crowd. Cool. Okay. So what we're going to do is, this one is a little less formulaic. So we're going to take 6 minutes. We're going to divide it up. Take 3 minutes to write down a practical way to target that motivator in a question. This may feel silly, may feel salesy. That's okay. Sometimes you get out the silly salesy stuff first, then you get to the really good copy. You could ask, feeling X about Y, feeling tired of X, feeling overwhelmed by X. It's helpful sometimes to just start simple, and then you can overlay your voice. You can overlay those more complex things that really get it to somewhere good. But what you want to start with is just get it on paper. Or maybe a true statement that speaks to their anxiety or desire motivator of choice, right? So that's what we did with stages, right? Retirement is just around the corner. Now what? Right? So you have an IRA that isn't where you want it to be. Now what? So we'll start there, delete this text, write your ideas, and then we'll flip into taking 3 minutes to write down a practical way that your leading feature, offering, whatever, mirrors that and speaks very clearly to the need. What we're looking for here is clarity, that someone walks away with being like, oh, that's what you do. And please let me know. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna put 3 minutes. Craig, say more about like the space and the way that you work.
Often it's a group of individuals who haven't worked with an architect or a landscape,
Okay.
or the policies that they have to navigate.
Yep. Okay. So you help with like all of that plus the architecture
Yeah.
build out. And
Yeah.
okay. Interesting. So it feels kind of overwhelming. Like they have to go through this whole process of things that they're not used to doing. Is that?
Yeah, or you don't even know the first step of the process. Yeah, a lot of
Okay.
times. If you're not into real estate or
Yeah. So it could be something like found your dream space, but not sure how to lock it down or not sure what to do or whatever. And then you explain like, we take care of all the things. Anyone else that I can pick on? Say more about access. Like you're not sure, people aren't sure where to get started, where to find those people. Yeah.
Exactly. Or even understanding the landscape, like how it works.
Yep. I feel like there's so many specifics that like, you know, where it's like, what percentage, like, how does equity work? How does this work? How do I find the person? Like some of those like descriptors also of like all the kind of expertise you can get in the community and learn from could be an interesting way into.
Yeah, not to hog the spotlight, but just also we have so many stakeholders. So speaking to so many different,
Yep.
sides of the marketplace is hard.
Yeah. Yes. That's another thing that I hear a lot of times from people is how do I speak to several different stakeholders, and we kind of need to put those puzzle pieces together. I love that. You're ready to take a seat at the table or pull more chairs up to the table. Now what? That's cool. And that kind of gets to all your audiences. Feeling anxious about meeting climate targets. We're here to help you buy responsibly, sell more, and turn your carbon waste into carbon value profitably within 1 decade, not 3. All right. Okay. So some of you are already doing this because you're so fast. But let's switch over to a practical way to talk about your leading feature, capability, or product. I want these bed sheets. I think you should share a link with me.
Yeah, everybody go to attitude.com. They're amazing.
You have infiltrated the systems of power and now you're ready to make it work for you. Now what? I love that. This is where like voice gets fun, where it's like, maybe we sit a little bit on the edge and we push a little, like, I love that. Everybody get yourself some bed sheets. I love that. We have a couple more minutes. Anybody else want to share? And then we'll talk about a couple more formulaic ways into this descriptor. Okay, we're gonna try just a last couple. Thanks for hanging with me and just trying things out in this hour. So we're gonna try another formula. Same thing. You're describing what you do, but you're gonna say what you do to get me a new or better or different feeling, plus what your leading product, service, etc. does to meet a practical need. So, Parsley is an example. No more late night symptom searches or dead end diagnosis. Parsley Health goes beyond symptoms to treat the root cause of your illness and deliver long-term healing. So I'm doing more than this, or I'm moving you beyond this, and then I'm delivering this thing that creates your practical need. So you can bring down a feeling and a practical need from above. Sometimes it's helpful to literally just mirror this, like no more X. We'll take you beyond Y by doing Z. Or you can try your own, but sometimes it's helpful to just try it out. And then you look at it and you go, oh, okay, this is how I'm going to change that to make it mine. So we'll just spend 2 minutes here, and then we'll try one more, and then we'll stop torturing you by making you write coffee. I love that your startup's mission is to save the planet. How do you ensure your company walks the talk? Thinking about, yes, I'm going to share the Google Doc link again. Sorry. Oops, I sent that in a direct message instead of to everyone. Here we go. I love that. Thinking of how to build wealth and power to drive climate change. We're here to help you achieve all your personal goals while helping the world achieve net zero. Really cool. Makes me feel like I'm part of something bigger. And there's multiple services that could fit within that, right? Your startup's mission is to save the planet. How do you ensure your company walks the talk? Again, multiple services that could fit there. We have about 1 minute left, and then we'll try one more. Oh, weird. So you do not have edit access. You have to copy it, and then you can use the copy. Let me know if that helps, Holly.
Yeah, I don't actually even get to see the document like the first one that you had posted. I had no problem making a copy. This one.
Does that help? I just posted one. I just posted the original one again. Let me know if that helps.
Okay.
Is that working?
Oh, good.
Okay. Okay, we will switch to one last example. And okay, so we're gonna try Parsley's formula of switching to an opposite. And then, like I said, we'll stop making you write things. So using products, services, tech, programs you offer, etc. Oh, sorry, we already did that. I made you do that without explaining it. So, okay, we're gonna go down to a CTA, MailChimp. So MailChimp inserts a practical thing that people want to do, and then describes what their brand does that gets you to an end result. So win new customers, they lead with like, that's where you're wanting to go, right? Then they describe their product. We're the #1 email marketing and automations brand, and then they describe what they do. So you can see how in one sentence you walk away with being like, I get this thing because you're this descriptor of a brand that does this thing. And the way that emotions partially come in here is like, yes, they're working on where you want to go and the ultimate benefit, but they're also, you can see it's almost like they have flipped their offerings like a mirror almost, if you will. They're not saying we do all these things to like make you get more clicks and sales and etc. They're talking about what that does for you. You get recommendations for more opens, clicks, and sales. You get more marketing and automations. You get to win customers. So it gives you a feeling of like, oh, okay, this is the stuff I'm going to get in order to get there. So here's your like big goal. Here's the things we're going to give you so that you can reach it. And that helps with like trust and believability, right? So it's like, okay, I understand that when you say you're going to do this thing for me, that you have some ways to actually get me there and you're going to go on the journey with me.